I do like dogs. I do like anuses. Wait, I don't know if I should be saying that on the internet.
No, you
I don't know.
should.
I should be saying
You
that.
should be
Can
saying.
we just title? Can that be the title of this
Yeah.
piece?
What is your full name?
My full name, like on my birth certificate. What is my full name? Or um,
Oh, I mean, first and last. If you want to include your middle name, that's fine.
all right. Uh, I am James Archibald Callahan. I guess my friends just call me Jim, but if you see some work I've done, it probably says James on it.
Where did Barth come from?
I think it mostly came from Revenge of the Nerds because I thought that Booger had a pretty sweet name. But around that same time, I had a New Year's resolution with some friends that before the year was over, and this is probably like 1999 or 2000 or something, we had decided that if in the case one of us was going to vomit in public, we were going to like scan the room and find the shittiest person in the room and grab them by the shirt collars and vomit onto them. You know, not like induced vomiting, but like if you were gonna vomit, find someone shitty to do
Natural
it on.
vomit.
Yeah, but it never came to be.
Well, how long have you been doing comics?
I guess I've been drawing comic book kind of stuff for pretty much my whole life, but it turned into kind of like an obsessive, constant thing, like around like 6th grade or so. I don't know. So it's probably like, how old are you in 6th grade? Like 17 or something?
I don't
know.
remember.
Something like that. I was like 11
No,
or 12 or
yeah.
something. I don't know. Something like that. I was about 11. So probably I've been in a perpetual state of 11 for like about 20 years now. So it's working out pretty well.
What are some of the comic influences?
Batman, the comic itself. Like I'm sure that you're more wondering about like actual comic people, but like Batman, the character and sort of like mythology and like phenomenon of it has been a pretty big influence. In that like you could be wearing like a shirt, like a shirt with a Batman symbol on it in like the farthest reaches of the globe, and you're still gonna have some little kid run up to you and be like, they wouldn't know a word of English, but it'll be like, Batman, Batman, you know? And because it's just like, and it's been around for like 80 years, you know, and like it's something sort of like bigger than the comic book itself. That's kind of crazy. That wasn't an official accent endorsed by any country or rational people. Daniel Clowes, pretty big influence. The guy that did like 8 Ball and Ghost World, and pretty much anybody who's ever worked for Mad Magazine. Garbage Pail Kids, that doesn't really count as a comic influence, but just like that sort of like sense of humor and just sort of like fart humor kind of stuff. Johnny Ryan's pretty hilarious. I think Jim Aparo was probably the first comic book illustrator as a kid that I would just like copy everything he did just to try and learn how to draw. You know, just like redraw everything he did. Weird Al Yankovic has been a pretty big influence. Ren and Stimpy. Yeah.
What's your how do you go into your creative process? What do you start with, and can you describe that for a little while?
Creative process most of the time, like when it just is starting with like the bare end, like, you know, you got nothing to start with. Usually it's somebody coming to me and needing something specific, you know, like I'd like to take credit for a lot of like real weird bizarre stuff that I end up working on, but like 90% of the time somebody comes up to me and they're like, oh, I want a, you know, like, well, see, now I can't even come up with anything crazy because they've already got their crazy specific thing. They want their, like, you know, like Jesus squid on a jet ski doing some ridiculous thing, and it makes it look like I'm doing, you know, everybody's like, wow, how do you come up with all this stuff? But usually somebody's asking me for some real weird thing. And then I'll do some thumbnails. It'll be, you know, about yay big, and then sort of pick which one, like, makes the most sense with space and everything, because usually people want some like massive epic thing where there's like 50 different things going on. You gotta figure out a way to sort of have like a central idea to it. I'll like lay out a couple of those, send them back to the person. They'll take a look at them, give them the thumbs up or thumbs down, and then just draw it bigger in pencil, ink it, scan it in on the computer, and then color it up in Photoshop. That's most of the time. But I mean, you know, sometimes I'll do stuff where it's like the finished product will be a painting or a screen print or something. So it's not always on the computer. But the drawing part, like up to the inking part, that's standard every time.
What advice would you give to a young, aspiring illustrator, artist, good or bad, anything?
I would say I would say figure out a drawing style that you can market that is really simple and only requires a few lines, and you can do a drawing in about 20 minutes.
Stick figures?
Yeah, stick figures, you know, like bubble cartoons, just like anything real simple that you just repeat the same thing over and over a whole bunch, because people eat that shit up, and you know, you can get a day's worth of work done in like an hour and a half. And you know, don't make the mistake that I made and then figuring out a drawing style. It takes you like 4.5 days to do a drawing, because you'll just be really broke and not have human contact very often, and slowly slip into kind of just losing your mind and living on the street.
What's Nowhere Skateboards?
Nowhere Skateboards is me trying to, like, I couldn't get anybody to print my work on a skateboard. Although, you know, I've had like a couple of like Municipal Waste printed a skate deck with a drawing I did, and Rain Dog, this company out of Florida, printed a drawing on a deck that I did. But for the most part, like, it's always been like one of my main things on my like to-do list of life to like get a bunch, you know, get artwork printed on a skate deck. And for the longest time, nobody, like, no matter who I sent work to or what contests I entered or whatever, I couldn't get anybody to print my work on a skate deck. So like, I finally got to the point where I was like, all right, well, fuck it, then I'm gonna make my own company and I'm gonna print my own skate decks. And so now that's what I do.
So skateboarding, it's safe to say, is a big part of your life.
It is pretty much the only thing that keeps me acting like a civilized human being. It is like, it's, you know, keeps me from kind of losing it for the most part, for lack of a better term. I don't know. You know, like, I think everybody should have that, like, that one thing that, like, the whole point of it is just to kind of forget about all the other bullshit for like 15 minutes and just be, you know, like, physical distraction.